Hello, everyone. Happy Friday as the Winnipeg Jets return.
You are bright.
I am bright, huh? I'm bright. I thought you just meant my personality, my bubbliness.
And your genius. It's just, that is it's a very nice sweatshirt, of course.
Well, it looks brighter on camera,
right.
I think,
than
the
what lighting.
It actually is. I'm Sarah Lesky. He's Jamie Thomas. You are watching Check-In. Thanks so much for joining us, whether that be on YouTube, Facebook, X, and at a later date, you can always listen on podcast form.
If you don't want to see us and be blinded by Sarah's hoodie.
It's just the lighting for it. The reason we are wearing these, the Winnipeg Jets home tonight for just one game, but they're hosting their 4th annual South Asian Heritage Night. Tonight against the Buffalo Sabres. It will spotlight Winnipeg's vibrant South Asian community, dance and drumming performances, music, cuisine, and of course, merchandise as well, t-shirts, hoodies, glassware, and more, all available. So we want to show them off.
Yeah.
It's great design.
They are nice. And of course, they're warm, so I'll lose.
So that's really what we care about right now, too.
Especially on a game day when they crank the air conditioning up here to minus 50.
Yes. So they are closer, being the Winnipeg Jets, to ending this 7 games in 11 days that have seen them on the road.
Forever.
Feels like forever. When talking with, whether it be some of the players, but even just some of the broadcast crews about how they feel as if, they've been gone. I was joking with Mitchell Clinton and Paul Edmonds this morning, actually asking whether or not they were able to find their way home okay. Had the locks been changed on the house, anything like that.
If you're going to do that, that's the time. If you're Mitch's other half, you're like, does late November, December is the time to change the locks. Won't even know what's happening.
We have a busy next half hour for you getting ready for today's game. Who's coming on with us?
Yeah, Shayna Goldman from The Athletic wrote a really great article. And I listen, there's all these 3-point games going on in the National Hockey League. It's
more than usual. Yeah,
it is out of control, I guess, in some ways. So she wrote a great article on the 3-2-1 point system where you get 3 points for a regulation win, 2 points for a shootout or overtime win, and 1 point for an overtime shootout loss. Obviously, 0 points for a regulation loss, or any type of loss, regulation loss. So she's going to go over that and how it would affect the standings right now. Believe it or not, it doesn't affect things too much, but it's very dramatic in some of the other division. The Pacific Division right now is having a ton of 3-point games.
Yeah.
So Shayna will bring us up to speed on what she was going through and what she's got, and also we want to ask: is there an appetite for this? Because it's got to go through a lot of players. It's got to go through the Players Association. The league has to go with it. I mean, they use it in the PWHL. They use it in IIHF.
Well, we always talk about the loser point per se, and the Jets picked up the loser 1 point in Montreal. But just it does how it impacts when you look at the Jets on the standings right now. If you look at regulation losses and then overtime or shootout losses, you look. You
should be rewarded for winning in regulation. That's basically what this is doing.
A greater reward for it. Yeah. Absolutely for it. So looking forward to having that discussion with her. It's too bad we couldn't also, maybe she'll do an article at some point on should they go back to the 1 versus 8 format for the playoffs, because that's my biggest beef right now, which I think should happen. But
doesn't Elliot Friedman always bugging Gary Bettman about that?
Yeah, I think so, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
For it. All right.
Gary's not listening, though.
No. So the Jets come home 1-3-1 on that recent road trip. There was a lot in that road trip, in that span of it.
A lot happens.
I mean, from the losses, then the win in Nashville, then they got absolutely run out of the building in Buffalo.
The team they're playing tonight.
The team that they are playing tonight. For it, they had the players-only meeting afterwards. They go to Montreal. They played better. Obviously, still elements. Eric Comrie had to keep them in the game in that first period.
Oh,
in
my
particular, a standout performance from him in that first period. But building blocks for them, they felt after in that game against Montreal that they're looking to build on today against Buffalo.
Yeah, lots to come with that one. And listen, they just had a morning skate. It's a 6:00 game, by the way.
Yes.
We should point that out.
On TSN, which you don't often see 6:00 games.
On a weekday.
On a weekday or on TSN. Usually it would be more of a Sportsnet thing. So pregame show, we do have one. It goes at 5:30 as well. But yeah, 6:00 start tonight.
There was a much better performance in Montreal on Wednesday night. Because a lot of outside listening to people grumble about the Jets before the game on Wednesday. Oh, they're going to get skated out of the building. The Canadians are one of the fastest teams in the league. They're the youngest team. The Jets are the oldest team. That was not at all what happened.
No, but I mean, I think it was also people warning that it's what could. If you played the way that you did in Buffalo
Yes.
against Montreal,
Mhm.
but certainly Montreal had the speed and the youthfulness to be able to cause a number of issues. But morning skate finished just a short while ago. Let's take a look at what the projected lines are, and no changes from what we saw last game. So you still have Cole Koepke in on that fourth line.
Yep.
Gus Nyquist remains a healthy scratch. Luke Schenn, Colin Miller, healthy scratches as well. Elias Salomonson gets in for his fourth game. Eric Comrie will get the start tonight. So tomorrow when they are playing in Edmonton, looks like that will be Thomas Milich's.
Right. So not any changes from the game in Montreal. And I don't think you could make any changes because you saw a lot of things that you liked. But here's the whole conversation. Another conversation itself. So this is what we're talking about. There's all kinds of stuff going on around this
and
team
you guys have talked about this a lot in the chat as well.
So is it possible to break up the number one line?
Should you break up the number one line when you have no secondary scoring happening for what feels like an extended period of time?
The second and third line in Montreal were really good. But the point is, it was Shifley, Connor, Velarde again.
Yeah.
On the 2 goals. Sorry, the 3 goals. Let's take a look. Here's the question being posed from Daniel Bain from TSN about what goes into breaking up that top line.
Believe me, I've debated this for a long time, and we've been talking about it. Got some ideas, but at the end of the day, it's like we are getting 0 goals, and it's hard when that line can score like that. You hope that they can go out and do what they do, outscore the opposition, whether that's 1-0, 2-1, 3-1, and then hope the other guys chip in, and that's kind of what's happening. The one thing about that line is they're usually always on the plus side of chances and goals. But do we spread the wealth? That's something, honestly, we've been talking about here the last couple of days, and we wanted to get through this stretch here. It's one thing we have done a lot of is change the lines. It's happened quite a bit, and there is just my own experience from that, both coaching and playing, is it's hard when you have different line mates each and every other night. Chemistry is a big part of it. So liked it a little bit. Like I mentioned, we didn't score the other night. It was better with our second and third line. Fourth line, let's see if we can't put it together here coming home and score some goals off it.
So I like the comments because I'll go through some of them for you right now. Absolutely not. You should not break up the top line, says Linda.
Yeah.
Leave it alone. No, don't split up the first line. Shice KFC are the hottest duo in hockey. And people aren't saying that you have to split up the top line. Obviously, they are very productive, but when you aren't getting any other scoring, I think the natural question is in an attempt to spread out the wealth or ignite some other players. Do you need to do it? Have no fear, Jets fans. As of right now, that top line is staying together, and they will hope to do some damage tonight against the Buffalo Sabres.
Right, and I can see. So a lot of people are concerned about it for good reason. So let's throw the graphic up of what's going on exactly, why the concern is there. So Jets forward scoring for the last 10 games.
It's really that's a dominant line.
I don't have to even just explain to you because the numbers are all staring to you in the face. Look at the shooting percentage.
Yeah.
From the top line as opposed to the other 3 lines.
When you look at 49 points for the top line over the last 10 games, 15 points for the other 3 lines combined. So they absolutely
have more goals, the first line, than the other 3 lines have points combined.
So yeah.
This is what we're talking about. So that's why it's
a discussion point.
It's like when you tell somebody why you haven't broke up with somebody, it's complicated.
That would be, if you're watching on Facebook many moons ago.
Yeah.
Do you remember Facebook? Like when you would be Facebook official or something like that. And they had the option on there of saying it's complicated.
Yeah, but
for a relationship status.
When that goes up.
Oh.
Then you're like, okay, there's a story here.
Oh, as a guy, you probably never ask questions. As a female, if I saw it's complicated went up, you're away.
Texting.
Oh, away. What's going
on? Yeah, what's going on?
And if you can't ask the person, then you'd immediately message friends.
Right.
Do you know what's going on right now? Did you see? Yeah. It's complicated.
At 6:08, it changed. 6:08 a.m. What happened last night?
But so as we go inside the room as well, coming home, it is just that one game. It feels, yes, it is a home game. In some ways, though, I think that if you ask the players, it almost feels like you're just continuing on with the road game, because right after the game tonight, they hop back on the plane and they head to Edmonton before they come home for the homestand. So it feels a little bit, like it's just the road trip continued on. But this is an opportunity for them to face a Sabres team that beat them 5-1. People, I think a lot of people consider it to be one of the worst losses that we've seen in Winnipeg Jets 2.0 era. So this is an opportunity, obviously, for them to come home and to try to not only build on the game against Montreal, but perhaps get some of that sour taste out of their mouth against the Sabres.
It's important. It's nice to get in a rhythm, get in a routine at home, but I think it's important we don't get too far ahead of ourselves. We got to focus on this game. You can't be looking ahead to the homestand coming up, or the game tomorrow night. Obviously with Buffalo, they're a real fast transition team, and they kind of exposed some of our slow decision making last game. So like we've talked about in this room, we just got to take care of the game in front of us. You're not going to get all these points back with one game, but certainly be nice to put a string of good games together here.
Yeah, we got to obviously take a look at it and look at things we did wrong, and obviously it wasn't a pretty one, and we want to correct that. But I think it's just good to be home finally again and playing in front of our home fans. So hopefully we can get the job done tonight.
I want to go back to something Adam Lowry said. He said slow decision making. So there's a whole conversation, another one, about the speed of this team. I think that's the best quote of it: slow decision making. When you make decisions and slow and that mistakes, that makes you look slow. So it's not like the Jets have slowed down by 20 miles per hour per game, obviously without Nikolai Ehlers and Mason Appleton. So I think that is a very good explanation of what people are thinking this team is. They're way slower than they have been in years past. Just the decision making has been slower, which has led to more mistakes, which makes them look slower.
Which is an interesting approach, and I think that if you go on that line of thinking and slower decision making, is that I think that there is, nobody's making excuses. Everybody's had to be on the road for an extended period of time. I think there's a mental fatigue that is set in a little bit with this team as well, just in terms of being on the road as much as they have been, and that every team's going to deal with it in some form with this compressed schedule. But we see that. How often do you see that? It's sports at all levels when you're playing, that if the decision making, if all of a sudden the confidence isn't there, if you start to doubt yourself a little bit with it and you aren't reacting and maybe you are thinking, it's just surprising to see that it's happened with the consistency that it has.
It's very dramatic. It's a very dramatic change. It's very dramatic. I just went on Edmonton radio. It's just they start 15-1 last year, and now you're sitting here 13-12-1.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre what's going on. So, but there's another thing that's kind of added to Adam Lowry, just about the confidence in the group, but there is confidence in this team. They know that they can do this. So one thing I appreciate and haven't heard from them or other coaches is I don't know what's going wrong. They do know what the problem is. It's just fixing it in time.
Right.
And it looks like 2 of the last 3 games, they've taken some good steps.
Which you hope that they continue to build on. I feel like as if, though, that makes it a little bit more frustrating, to be honest.
When you know what you
know it's going, because there's the part of you, don't you ever? We talk about this all the time when you're watching, even just kids sports. You go, if you know what's going, then do it.
Yeah.
For it, of course, it's not as simple as that.
Well, when you're over top of everything and you're down, I tell my daughter all the time, how did you not see that player on the wing? It's wide open. I'm not on the.
The bird's eye view is very different from when you're actually down there, and when it's very easy to be the armchair coach, player. And
we have replays and all that stuff like that. And sometimes people are telling us things that kind of go into what we believe is going on.
All right. Scott O'Neill did give updates today on a couple of injured players. So good news when it comes to Connor Hellebuck. So he's progressing. He still hasn't been on the ice yet, but he is doing movements now, which is part of, I would presume, the first part of his return. When they're, as I mentioned, not on the ice yet, but it is progressing, is moving well. So that's a positive. Again, he was sidelined 4 to 6 weeks. Also, Hayden Fleury skated this morning. One of the big things with Fleury now is the conditioning aspect. Obviously, with it being a concussion, it wasn't something where he was able to keep up with the conditioning the same way that you would if perhaps it was a wrist injury or something
like Dylan Sandberg.
So, but he was on the ice this morning. So another positive sign there as well.
Okay, so a lot of questions. One thing, speaking of Adam Lowry, the third line has been such a big part of the identity of this team.
Yep.
For forever now. And, you go on
Forever.
Yes, exactly. I couldn't say it better myself. I'm sure when you do radio hits, when you go on NHL Network, you talk about what
100%.
The line is always that third line.
Yep.
And you hear it's the best line and third line in hockey.
Yep. It's the identity of this team. It's the heart and soul. It's the DNA of it.
So Mason Appleton moves on. You've had various pieces, but the key component here is you haven't had Adam Lowry for a full year. And I think another thing that was very well explained to me is like he hasn't had an off season. And then I remember him saying when he came back, everyone else has played on Runway that I watched. Very good. Very good show. You should watch it. What episode's out for right now for season?
That's a good question.
Okay. It was the last one was really good too.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's really good too as well. So Adam Lowry explained it like everyone else has played 17 games and I have he's played nothing. So it's just like it's this whole thing of catch up. So another thing on that Edmonton radio hit I just had is like, how about that third line? It's supposed to be the best third line in hockey. I'm like, well, it's taking a little bit of a step back because of the absence of Adam Lowry and him getting up to speed. But Alex Iafallo, it doesn't matter what line you throw him on, he just does a great job. And I listened to him talking to Paul Edmonds and Mitchell Clinton after the game on CJOB in Buffalo. And I think he was the perfect guy because he's just like, his demeanor is the same at all times.
Yep.
You can't tell if Alex Iafallo is mad, angry, happy, sad. It's all the same. So him talking about he's just the right guy to ask about these types of things. So I think you heard that interview and you're like, I should talk to Alex Iafallo. And you listened for once. To me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's where you're wrong.
Okay.
I promise you I did not.
You did not? This is all your idea. Okay. So as we mentioned, here's Alex Iafallo with Sara.
Come home just for the one game before heading back out on the road. Did you unpack?
No, not yet.
No.
Maybe right now I will.
But when you look at the way that this month has gone for the team right now, what is it that stood out to you most with this group?
Yeah, it's been a tough go the last few games, so we got to just bump it up. I think obviously our resiliency is always going to be there, and we always are working hard, so we got to keep doing that. And I think just having a solid three-period game is going to be huge for us.
We heard a lot about the building blocks being there after the game against Montreal. For you, what were those building blocks? What did you look at that you want to build on for this game against Buffalo tonight?
I think everybody did a great job, last game, moving the puck forward, having good, plays through the middle and, getting the puck deep. I think, when you're moving through each zone like that and, working together, it creates momentum, pushing things forward and, just get on the forward check is going to be huge. Obviously, Com's had a great game last game.
Yeah.
And, just staying good defensively.
When you look at the game against Buffalo, I mean, it was, it was what it was, and it was talked about afterwards. What do you take away from that game? Number one thing that has to improve when you go up against them again tonight?
Yeah, just clean up mistakes and, stay hard on the forecheck. I think just stay aggressive in everything we do is going to be huge for us. That stops them offensively, so just stay aggressive, stay competitive in each battle, and defensively as well. Just trying to get pucks out as quick as we can and using our speed to our advantage.
After the sour taste of that game, do you like the fact that you face them again so soon afterwards?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you want to get it going right away and get a win after that. So, we're pumped for tonight and pumped to be home.
When you think about this group as a whole, and you talked about how this is a resilient group, or how as a group do you need to come together right now? What is it that...
It's a big time of the year, obviously. When you have certain games like that, it's up and down, roller coaster-ish. You got to come together and, string a few wins together. So we got to do that tonight.
When you say you got to come together, is it in the room? Is it nice? Do you guys try to sometimes do you guys try to keep it light at this point? Because I imagine, I mean, it's a tense time.
Yeah, obviously you got to, watch your shifts and clean up your mistakes.
Yeah.
But team-wise, stick together, keep positivity in the room, and feed off each other. I think that's the biggest thing. Create momentum off each other and have fun. That's the biggest part.
Looking forward to seeing you guys tonight. Thanks
Appreciate
for the time.
Thank you.
Best part of that interview? Have you unpacked yet? No.
No. Like,
No.
nope. Haven't done laundry, haven't done anything.
But to their defense, they just got in yesterday, so that's I don't know how fast of an unpacker you are. I would already be done.
Would you really?
Yeah, I'd already be packed up. No, I wouldn't. You know me, I'm terrible at organization.
What about all of you watching? When you get home from, I mean, this is obviously a business trip for them. When you get home from, whether it be a business trip, vacation, do you unpack quickly?
Are you allowed to put your suitcase on the bed?
No, definitely
so
not.
So my wife isn't crazy on that one.
No,
where I'm
that
like,
is gross.
I'm always like about to put the suitcase on the bed to unpack, and she's like, "No,
no." Think about where that suitcase has been.
Right.
That is
instantly
not
unpacked.
But like the instantly unpacked. Okay, I go and unpacks. Phyllis unpacks quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I like these. I've got to say
you guys are like really organized. I'm kind of embarrassed to be hanging out with you because my suitcase will sit on the other side of the bed, and I'm like, "Hey, where's my shorts?" Oh yeah. There they are.
And start the laundry. That's the key part. I'm very hit or miss. Sometimes if you get home and everything is just out and the laundry starts within minutes. Other times I sit there and go, oh, see, I got home several days ago.
I can't even come on the show anymore. Like, you guys are all so well organized. Zach, put up somebody that does not unpack something. Like, find something.
Phyllis was wondering where
Thank you, Drew.
That interview was shot. It was right beside the stick rack. So Iafallo had a power play meeting to get to right after the morning skate. And so by the time he came back out, the Sabres were already doing their morning skate. So we couldn't go onto the bench the way we usually do. So we just ducked into the corner by the stick rack. And for those wondering, yes, he was mic'd up. So you can imagine how quiet he would have been if we didn't have the mic on him. But I always appreciate when Alex drops by.
I'm sure when Shayna Goldman decided to come on the show, she did not know that we were going to ask her if she's a quick packer or unpacker. But that is the types of things that happen on check-in. So please welcome to the show, the Athletics, Shayna Goldman. Shayna, sorry. Do you unpack quickly when you get home, or do you just let it sit there like I do?
I don't unpack quickly, but I do not put the suitcase on the bed. It goes like on a bench or on the floor. That's the difference, but it will sit there for a few days.
Thank you.
Yeah, but Jamie wants to put it on
We should have brought you
bed.
in earlier. Yeah, I try to put it on the bed all the time.
No.
20 years of marriage, I've been trying to do this. Every time, same reaction. Just
you would think that at some point he would clue into his wife's reaction of going, that's disgusting.
Well, sometimes you have to test the water. I'm like, maybe today is the day. You're like, huh? Other times it's just on purpose.
All right.
Hi. So we were just talking about the 3-2-1 point system a little earlier, and you've done some digging, and you did a great job in the article in The Athletic. What kind of got you the old gerbil turning in your brain that you should do something on this 3-2-1 point system with the NHL, with being as close as it is this year?
Yeah, it's every year. I do this column every single month, what we learned about the NHL. We check the vibes, things like that. And every year now, I find one time at minimum to be like, okay, what happened if we actually did things correctly? And just once, like, what if we followed the PWHL? What if we learned that regulation wins are not equal to overtime wins and just rewarded things properly? And so this year, just the timing felt right because everyone is so closely knit. And I think also you're seeing, we're around the 30 game mark here, and there are teams with 12 overtime appearances already. So it felt even more relevant this year.
So we're going to throw up the standings as they would be today under the 3-2-1 point system. And thank you so much for getting this updated for us, because I was a little worried about the November 30th. So Zach, can you just throw up the standings? There it are. So Shayna, kind of take us through what you've seen here, and if there's a much change throughout the league, especially in the Central. There's not in the top three, but where is the most change with the 3-2-1 point system?
Yeah. So as of November 30th, if I remember correctly, like the big difference was the Jets being in the playoff picture. And here, it does look a little bit more similar, but you see a couple teams jump up, like the Pittsburgh Penguins in second place. Who saw that one coming? And, Detroit gets the edge over a team like Montreal because of their regulation wins. But I think the biggest standout to me is if you go through the regular standings right now and you look at third place, which is the Washington, if you go 28th to the Sabres, it feels like that's kind of the cutoff for anyone actually in this. The Blues, the Flames, they're so far removed, we're not counting them, but it's 10 points separating third to 28th, and that feels like absolutely nothing. So with a 3-2-1, we get a little more separation. It's 18 points, and that feels a little bit more fitting, and it feels like you can see teams get rewarded a little more properly for getting it done in 60 minutes in your traditional hockey setting.
Do you think that there be much of an appetite? What's your sense of switching to a format like this, switching to the right way?
The right way.
Maybe not. I think that this league's a little stubborn on things. I mean, look, the playoff formatting is kind of a mess still, and the divisional breakout, how it is. So I feel like there's so many other things that'll happen before this. But I think the idea of parity, right? Maybe potentially more expansion. It's going to keep becoming a conversation. So I wonder if that gets the appetite going a little bit, especially if we don't see the standings disperse. Like last year, the standings were close at this time of year. And by year's end, it felt like everything kind of regulated. What if that doesn't happen this year because you have so many disappointing teams like the Oilers and the Leafs kind of messing with our projections of what we saw coming this year versus, surprise teams like the Bruins and the Islanders and the Blackhawks shaking things up. Maybe that could help. But I also want to see teams start taking risks a little bit more, or, teams just playing for overtime. Maybe that could be the spark, right? Is it fun to see a team just go, it's okay, go past 60 minutes. Your 2 points are going to be the same at the end of the day. Or do you want to see teams pushing it a little bit more to end in regulation?
And I think that's a very good, like that, when you present it like that, so you should probably go see Gary Bettman and say exactly like that. And I think we'll see change, but I really appreciate that way. There's one more graphic you kind of put in your article. It's just where the most 3-point games are coming. And this is as of November 30th. Let me be clear. Let's throw that up, Zach. And this is the Pacific Division is wow. Like they've taken a massive jump from last season in terms of the 3-point games.
Yeah, there's something, the Pacific. And I mean, that's why we're seeing, teams like the Ducks jump out at first place. And it seems like such a shock. But then you look at, Vegas has required overtime so many times this year. They've lost 8 times in overtime. They have 2 overtime wins, and teams like the Kraken are driving that number up as well. I think they have 6 overtime losses and 4 overtime wins. So they're at 10. And it's a lot different. Like you look in the Central, you look at a team like the Jets, they've only been to overtime 3 times. That's a huge difference. And these are numbers that I feel like we usually don't see at this point in the season. So you can see who's leading the charge there.
My goodness. How much do you enjoy doing this? Like what's going on around the league? Like, how much fun is it to like keep an eye on all the trends?
It's fun, but you have to like be flexible. Like my plans for November were completely different. I was going to talk about Dustin Wolf getting overused because I felt like the Flames were kind of throwing him literally to the fire at the end of October. And Leo Carlsson was supposed to be like the headlining point of this story, but then his game kind of trailed off at the end there. But I think it's good because there are people like you both do the work day to day with the team, and you're going to get the details that someone like me is never going to be able to capture. And I think it's such an important way to look at it. But I think too, when you have a league-wide view, you get a different perspective on things because you're watching a little bit of everything. So I think having both things out there just can hopefully add something different and interesting that we all learn something about, this game that we all love.
Yeah, absolutely. The macro versus the micro sort of idea that and I always find, and you and I have talked about this sometimes, that even when you're looking at different story angles, that sometimes because you're around the team, in our case, the Jets, all the time, there's certain things that you just take for granted or that you presume that either people know or it's become normal, and you don't necessarily sometimes you don't always see the bigger picture because you're just so into the minutia of the day to day. So I love stuff like what you're doing, Shayna.
Shayna, I appreciate you coming on and confirming again. For Sarah's right about throwing the suitcase not on the bed when you get home from a trip. But
what we've proven now, Shayna, is that it doesn't matter who comes on. They all go, Jamie, it doesn't matter what the topic is. And they're like, I don't know, Jamie.
Soon I'm going to find a guest.
Usually,
soon.
Sarah, that's right. That's a great point.
Shayna, where can everybody find you, and what are you working on next?
Yeah. You can find my work at The Athletic. You can find me on Twitter at Shayna Goldman _. And up next, I'm doing something about, we had the big player tiers this year about players we were saying needed to do more to jump up, like the Brandon Hagels and Jason Robertson of the world. So I'm very excited to get to break down what they're doing right, and then how other teams are navigating through injury.
Oh, that'll be an interesting one.
Okay, yeah, the Jets know all about that here.
Yeah,
so.
injury's certainly been a storyline for teams all throughout the league.
Thanks, Shayna. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much, Shayna.
Shayna Goldman joining us from The Athletic. That was good. Like it is. I remember when I used to work at Sportsnet, you could just look at everything. Mm-hmm. Then you come here and you just show your tunnel vision sometimes.
Well, sometimes it just, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Sometimes you forget, or you just don't always see the bigger picture, which is very.
The 3-2-1 point system. Bring it in. I'd rather have the 3-2-1 point system than change the playoff system.
I'd like both.
Well, of course you want all of it.
All of it.
Yes, it's right. It's
All
that's
of
so
it.
it's not surprising in the slightest. If we're offering two things and you can only have one,
I'd
your
like
answer would be
both.
Yes. Right. Perfect.
Tonight the Jets home for the one game facing the Sabres team. Buffalo ran them out of the building in their game in Buffalo, but this is a Sabres team that you don't know what you're going to get. Talking with their
Box of
broadcast crew.
chocolates.
That's right. You never know from game to game. They have not won 3 games in a row yet this season, and they'll go 2 wins in a row, then 2 losses, then 2 wins. And they thought that they saw a lot of signs that they liked, obviously, in that win against Winnipeg. But then they went into Philadelphia, and it was same old. So when speaking with people around their organization or media that cover them, they just said they have no idea what to expect going into this game here tonight. The Jets looking to build on what they believe were building blocks in that point that they got in Montreal.
And a little bit of something from the Nashville game. Let's mix some of that in there.
They'll start to get there. The Jets 6-5 at home so far this season. This is the first of back-to-back games. They are in Edmonton tomorrow. You are actually going to Edmonton.
Yeah,
so
after the game tonight, I'm flying to Edmonton.
We are going to do tomorrow's show remotely. You
Yeah.
can join us. Maybe you could just give us a tour of the hotel.
I think I should.
I think
Just
you
with
should
my phone,
as
just walk
well.
around. As you can see here's Alex Iafallo's room. He's not going to let me in. I'm going to keep knocking.
You could just go down the hall.
Just keep knocking on the
Could you
door.
imagine what a segment that could be?
During their nap time?
No, oh yeah. Maybe just in
Lunch
general.
with Mark Scheifele.
Just in general, you could walk down the hallway.
Right.
Doesn't have to be on their floor. You could walk down and just knock and see if anyone would answer.
Oh my gosh.
Random
I need
hotel chats.
Yes. I'm hoping.
This would be.
I would be praying it's Adam Lauer because I think he would be the best one to get it. And unfortunately, he would be less mad.
Yeah, maybe that's what we'll discuss tomorrow. Who would be the top 3 players that would at least play along with you or that wouldn't bite your head off? Who would be the 3 that you would have to run from?
Oh,
yeah,
I'm still pretty
that's something to
fast.
think about for tomorrow.
Okay, think about it, everybody.
Just a quick reminder, South Asian Heritage Night here tonight. That's why we're wearing these fantastic hoodies. So it will be a great atmosphere inside Canada Life Center. Plus, it's a Friday night. You add all of it. Jets are home
For a second,
but then next week they're home, and we've got Dallas, down Boston. There's a whole bunch. So
some good matchup. Washington, it's a good homestand.
Ottawa, it'll be great. Looking
right.
forward to it.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks so much, everyone, for
Checking in.
see you later.